It has been a while since the last time I talked about Robert F. Smith. And I said, let me go ahead and see what's going on with him now. And I can thank Town Biz for that, because he sent me this article about Robert F. Smith. It's nothing bad, but I see what a certain organization is trying to do. And ironically, I just did a video talking about how the NFL thinks they're slick when it comes to the hiring of Mike McDaniel. And man, let me tell you, y'all comments had me cracking up when the video was premiering. But I have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit more on the serious side. And I hope that Robert F. Smith sees what's going on. So in case y'all have not heard, the NFL organization is practically begging for Robert F. Smith to purchase the Denver Broncos. Now, as you know, Robert F. Smith is the wealthiest black American man in America, and they want him to purchase the Denver Broncos. Now, Robert F. Smith has been a multi-billionaire for years. He's not new to being a billionaire. He practically acquired his first billion probably about maybe 10 plus years ago. So he's been a billionaire for quite some time. And they never reached out to him before or asked him if he wanted to buy an NFL team. But they ask him now. There have been other black celebrities who have tried to pull their money together to try to buy at least one NFL team, and they always got shut out every single time. But now they reach out to Robert F. Smith and practically are begging him to buy the Denver Broncos. Gee, I wonder why. And I can't help but say that it has something to do with what Brian Flores, in his lawsuit against the NFL, has pretty much kicked up. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Brian Flores has lit a fuse under the NFL's ass, and a pretty hefty, fiery one at that. Sparks are flying right now. He literally opened up Pandora's box with this one. If the NFL has to beg the richest, wealthiest black man in America to buy one of their teams. Keep in mind, Robert F. Smith did not reach out to them to buy the team. They reached out to beg him to buy the team. Roger Gooddell and company to do this. They think they slid. I think this is probably going to end up being a part 2 to that Mike McDaniel video. I mean, it's perfect because they're trying to be slick again. They don't think people don't see what they're doing, but we know. But I'm gonna go ahead and read from the New York Post, and it was posted on February 10, 2022. The National Football League is frantically appealing to Robert F. Smith, the nation's richest black man, to buy the Denver Broncos, but thus far he has shown a reluctance to bid, sources told the Post. Good, meaning he's not eager to jump out there and buy it. You gotta think, this guy is a billionaire. He is a businessman. He needs to know that whatever he's investing into is going to bring in more equity and build his portfolio. And just because he has billions of dollars doesn't mean that he's going to just throw it into a team, because a team alone, as a sports owner, that costs $1 billion+ to buy anyway. So that's cutting into his net worth. So he has to make sure he's strategic on whatever he's paying for and making sure that he's going to profit at the end of the day. And I think that Robert F. Smith, as a black man, knows when they're trying to run game. I mean, I'm nowhere near a billionaire. It would be nice if I can get there one day, but if I don't, it is what it is. And even I can see the game that the NFL is trying to run. Smith, a New York-based private equity tycoon who famously spent $34 million to pay in 2019 to pay off the student loans for the entire graduating class of Morehouse College, is a Denver native and would become the first black owner of an NFL team if he purchased the Broncos. NFL Commissioner Roger Gooddell is pulling out all the stops to woo Smith, even as the team is rumored to have gained interest from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, as well as quarterback legends Peyton Manning and John Elway. That's because Gooddell is scrambling to repair the league's banged up image when it comes to race relations. There you go. Now, I'm not cheating, and when I say cheating, that doesn't mean I read this article before I made my assumption. I mean, come on, it was too obvious. It's too obvious. And see, they might end. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pass up on Jeff Bezos And Jeff Bezos' pockets are way heftier than Robert F. Smith. But in order to save face, they will pass up on a Jeff Bezos to get a Robert F. Smith to say, look, we got our team. We got the NFL's first black owner. I think that people like Roger Goodell thinks that not only that a black people are slow and stupid, but people like him think that people in general are slow and stupid. Come on now. Like, we know what this is. This is a PR stunt. You don't genuinely wish that Robert F. Smith would buy this team, because if you did, he would have reached out to you for interest. Now, my thing is, did he reach out to Jeff Bezos? Did he reach out to John Elway or Peyton Manning? I highly doubt it. Something tells me they probably reached out to him, or the conversations were a little different. But listen to this. He said that they're frantically trying to get Robert F. Smith to buy the team. What if he doesn't want to buy a team? What if he's not interested? Then what? And like I said, I'm sure Robert F. Smith knows what they're trying to do. I mean, look at it this way. When he paid off the student loans for the Morehouse graduates, Morehouse did not reach out to him to ask him, hey, Robert F. Smith, since we are asking you to come and do this commencement speech, can you also slide some funds to our graduates' way and, pay off their loans? No, the only thing that the school asked him to do was come and speak at their commencement ceremony. He decided on his own terms that he was going to pay off that money. The administrators, the presidents, the deans, all of that, the students did not know he was about to do this. It caught everybody by surprise. That's what made that moment that much more special. What Roger Goodell is trying to do, that's a cheap shot. And that doesn't fix anything, because it's going to take more than hiring a black individual who has a massive amount of wealth to buy a team to fix the damage that you've created and the culture that you have implemented into the National Football League at large. Goodell is putting tremendous pressure on him to bid, a source close to the situation said of Smith. Now listen to that. He said he's putting a tremendous amount of pressure on him, which means it's almost like he's trying to box him into a corner to buy this team. As if he doesn't do it, then something might happen. No. And I don't know what Roger Goodell's net worth is, because you got to think he's the commissioner of the NFL, and that's a lot of money. So I don't know what his net worth is. I don't know if it's more than Robert F. Smith or not, but that's besides the point. They're both billionaires. And like I said, I hope that Robert F. Smith can see through the finesse. But he said he's reluctant to buy it, which means he's not eager to jump out or jump off the ship, off the deck into shark-infested waters, with Roger Goodell being the great white shark. Last week, ex-Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores filed a lawsuit against the NFL that compared the league to a plantation where 70% of the players are black and none of the owners are. Nevertheless, 59-year-old Smith, who has an estimated net worth of $6.7 billion, according to Forbes, is in the middle of raising a $20 billion plus fund for his Austin, Texas-based buyout firm, Vista Equity Partners. He doesn't want to be saddled with hunting for a new starting quarterback, two sources said. I'm glad. See, he's a businessman. You're not going to finesse this guy. He's not going to say, oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. Listen to what they say he got going on. This guy has a lot more important things to talk about and deal with than him being a figurehead and being the new face. Because guess what they're going to end up doing? Say he was the buyer of the Denver Broncos. He made history. He's the first black individual to own an NFL team. That's all they're going to treat it as a historical thing for them. They're going to trot him out there like he's their prized horse, and that's going to be it. He probably won't even, they might put the camera in his face a few times, but the thing about Robert F. Smith is he's a very private person. A lot of people didn't even know who Robert F. Smith was until he did what he did for Morehouse. I knew about him way prior to that. And people thought he was this new person. They was like, well, who is he? He's not an entertainer. He doesn't own a record label. He doesn't act. He's not a socialite. Who is he? It gave enough people to dig deep and learn about who this man is. And like I said, he's a very private person. to be an owner of an NFL team would mean he would have to give up a level of his privacy that he does not want to give up. And then he has his firm that he really is focused on, and to do this and that, even though the NFL is seasonal, there's a lot of stuff that the owners have to do off season, and he may not have the time to do it. And I'm sure that as a businessman who's worth billions of dollars, he wants to make sure that his time is dedicated in the avenues in which he loves. He may not love owning an NFL team, and Roger Gooddell is just going to have to deal with that and find another sucker if he can. Now, that's what Roger Gooddell gets, because you had a lot of celebrities out there that was trying to pull their money together to buy one team, but he and the other individuals shut him out, or shut them out. Gee, I wonder why. They had their opportunity, but they squandered it. Per usual, no surprise. Smith grew up as a Broncos fan and might want to buy a team, but not now while he is raising a fund, one source close to the situation said. I think it's a 50-50 whether he bids for the team. A well-placed banking source told the Post. The NFL desperately wants Smith to bid. Right now, he doesn't want to. If Smith bids, he wins. So basically, it's almost like if he decided to put his hat in the ring and say he bids for the team, no matter how much he bids, as long as it's a good amount of money, then he's automatically going to get picked, even over someone like Jeff Bezos, who is worth way more. So it's all about optics and imagery at the end of the day. Like the article stated, and like I stated before, I read it in the article, they're only doing this because the image of the NFL looks bad right now because of what Brian Flores said in the lawsuit. They would have not asked Robert F. Smith to buy this team or any team years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. But now they want to do it. Roger Gooddell has a bad PR team, because if you remember when the whole Kaepernick situation was going on, what did he go do? Go get Jay-Z, of all people, because they were losing them ratings and they had to find a way to get them black viewers back. What's going on now? Brian Flores has a hefty lawsuit against the NFL about racial discrimination, and what does he go do? Beg Robert F. Smith to try to buy the Denver Broncos, and practically would give him the team if he could. But because they have to bid on it, that's what it is. And that's probably kicking Roger Gooddell in the ass right now, because he can't just give him the team. That would be too easy. But this is Roger Goodell's karma, because that man has been shady for the last 2 decades. Smith didn't respond to the request for comment. For its part, the NFL told the Post there is tremendous interest in owning NFL franchises, including the Denver Broncos, which are now up for sale. Numerous parties have expressed interest, and that includes multiple minority executives. Then go and get one of them. Reports that Smith, who was also the chairman of Carnegie Hall, was a possible bidder for the Broncos first surfaced late last month. Smith didn't comment at the time, but a source close to the billionaire sought to throw cold water on the speculation. Robert's priorities right now are on the fight for voting rights and economic justice rather than being an owner of a team. Basically saying me being an owner of any NFL team right now is beneath me. Roger Gooddell, he's saying you and your NFL organization are beneath him right now. And I clap it up for him saying that. Bravo. He continues to be most focused on how he can best help understand communities gain access to capital, healthcare, education in the ballot box. Pursuing ownership of the Broncos is not on his radar right now. I can't even knock it. He's trying to help people get to his level, and he can't do that being an NFL team owner. Even for Smith, buying the Broncos would require a significant chunk of change. Insiders expect the team, which has hired investment bank Allen & Company, to explore a sale after being placed in the trust of the late owner Patrick Bowlen, which will fetch upwards of $4 billion in an auction. That could double the $2.2 billion that hedge fund mogul David Tepper paid for the Carolina Panthers in 2018, still a record price for an NFL franchise. And it's interesting that they bought up the North Carolina Panthers, or the Carolina Panthers, I should say, because the team that I was talking about and what those black celebrities were trying to buy, that was that team. And they gave it to this PC man. And I think Diddy was one of the people. I forgot who the other one was who was trying to buy that team. And I think it was around that time. And Roger Gooddell said, nope, we're giving it to him. That could have been your historical moment right there, Roger Gooddell. But y'all can't tell me that Roger Gooddell is not a dub S. Y'all, no one can tell me that he isn't. League rules require that an owner put no more than $1 billion in debt on a team and put down at least 33% of the equity. Even if Smith brought in partners to buy the rest of the team, which insiders expect he would, Smith would have to write a check for at least $1 billion. And they also mentioned in here that media mogul Byron Allen said he is preparing to make a bid for the Broncos, but they said that he is unlikely has enough money to pay to do it. It says earlier this week, comedian turned media mogul Byron Allen said he wants to put in a bid, and it says, and he said he likely doesn't have the $250 million to invest in the team, and the league is not taking his efforts seriously. Anyone who announces themselves as a bidder is not a real candidate, a banker close to the sale process said of Allen. Byron Allen said in an interview with the Post that capital isn't an issue. Meanwhile, at a Super Bowl press conference Wednesday, Gooddell said the league has met with Allen a couple of times about the Broncos, but he's not the only individual that's interested in buying an NFL team that is black, and we have worked hard to make sure we have as many candidates possible and put them in a position to succeed. Listen, all in all, I applaud that Robert F. Smith actually, I guess in his own way, clapped back at them and basically saying, look, as much as you want me to buy this team, I know what it is. And the thing is, he doesn't have to come right out and say why they're doing it. We know why they're doing it. His team knows why they're doing it. Roger Gooddell knows why he's doing it. He's not just going to bring himself to say it, though, but we know what it is. But I really applaud the fact that he basically shut them down with class. He said, look, I have this going on and this going on and this going on. I do not have time to be dealing with buying an NFL team. That is not going to help me. And remember what I was saying, he's a businessman. He's only going to dibble and dabble in things that's going to help him bring in revenue. And that right there probably won't even bring him in the most revenue compared to what he has right now. Think about it. This guy has amassed a $6.7. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I completely lowballed him. He amassed a $6.7 billion net worth and counting through anything that is not sports related, nothing entertainment related, nothing dealing with Hollywood or any other way that a lot of black people get their wealth. He did it in a whole nother way. So don't think for 1 second that he needs them. It's the other way around, which is why Roger Gooddell is groveling right now. And let him continue to grovel. That's what he gets. Shout out to Robert F. Smith. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video on this note. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new, make sure that you hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.